is a beacon of light, an individual that's walking the planet like everyone else, bringing a gift to the world. And one of the biggest pieces for me is my parenting, being a mother, being able to be the guardian and the teacher and the student of my kids, and being able to go out and just shine my light. I would say that if I had to say one word of who I am, it would be light. Another word would be love. I love peace, so I just want a really peaceful, harmonious life. I'm a homebody, and I tend to be an introvert with extrovert moments. So for me, ideally, I'm home raising my kids, being a great grandma when they have kids, and being able to go out into the world and do little bits and pieces, spending a lot of time at home and spending a lot of time in my own little world. I love to do that. Work-wise, I give a voice to children, I would say, is probably what I do. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of a voice, and so I love being able to work with parents who come to me that have, whether it's a behavior issue or just something that's not working. A lot of parents don't feel connected to their kids. So I get to come in and help them kind of dig underneath and figure out, why is this piece not working? And kind of get that light bulb turned on where they look at something from a different perspective, and they get to meet their child in a different way. They get to actually, to connect. I consider it like a bridge. Their child's over here and they're over here. They really don't know what to do. So I'm helping them go over to where their child is and then bring their child forward. So a lot of what I do is bridging. Conscious parenting is about parenting from a place of being awake, conscious being awake. And by that, what I mean when I talk about that is really paying attention to what we're doing. I think in a lot of situations we parent by default. I've heard a lot of people say, well, you know, my parents did it this way and I turned out okay, and so I'm just going to keep doing it, even though they know it doesn't work. And so it's the difference between parenting by default, which I think is really like sleepwalking, and parenting in a conscious way, which is being awake, being aware, watching to see, is what I'm doing effective? How does it affect the spirit of my child? We might do certain things and our kids seem like they're okay, but really inside, are they okay? Kids, I've also heard a lot of people say kids are resilient. They'll get through just about anything. And they will. A lot of that's on the outside though. What's going on inside? And that's the part about conscious parenting. It's caring about what's going on in this person. And when we launch them at 18, that's just the beginning of a really long life. Are we launching them on the best launch pad? Have we given them a lot of depth of character and love, and being able to be authentic, being able to show up as who they are? Do we support them when they come to us different than we are? Do we support them in being that person? Or are we trying to mold them into the person that we would like to see them be, or the person that we weren't allowed to be when we were young? For the world, it is that every child gets to grow up being who they truly are. And that is going to be, everyone has all the pieces. Which pieces are going to be accented in each person, that's what each person gets to figure out. Pay it forward means doing something today, not because someone did something and not because you're going to get something, but simply because you want to contribute to tomorrow. You want to do something right now that makes a difference for later, whether you're involved in that later or not. As far as how that shows up for an individual, I would say that's an individual question. I think some people, if they need to put it on their calendar, if they want to decide, okay, I want to make sure that I contribute to something bigger than myself X number of times a year, they may need to calendar it. And it just might be the most effective way for them. Some people want to do it every single day, and they're going to go out and do something small or big every single day. And I think if we each take time to sit there and think about that question, because I really haven't thought about pay it forward. I've heard of it, and I've thought about it on a certain level, but I've never sat there and thought, well, how often do I want to pay it forward? And what would I want to do if I was paying it forward? So I think sitting down and just taking a few minutes to think of what would I like to contribute to the world, and what would feel good to me, how often would it feel good to me to do that? I think a lot of times just in the spur of the moment, just being authentic and just showing up. If every day I did something, like with my kids, I feel like I pay it forward every single day. And that's just part of my life. When I work with families, I don't work with families every single day, but every time I do, I see something shift in them and I know I paid it forward. I write a certain article or a certain blog post, I know someone, even if one person is the only person that ever saw that, I know something in there will touch someone, and it's paying it forward. I think a lot of times we're paying it forward and we don't realize it. And if we did it more consciously, we could just give so much more bang for the buck. We could just really send that out a really long distance. Oh gosh, I'm just filled with joy thinking about that. Because the focus is on giving. And when we give, it always comes back. And we don't give to get back, but it's that flow. So when we spend some amount of time every day or on some regular basis giving in some capacity, it's all around us. If everybody's doing that, this world would shift immediately. On the spot, it would shift immediately. One day of everybody focusing on that, just the vibration, the energy, the feeling of being alive would change. Learn, play, grow. Learn is taking in, learning something new. Playing would be not taking it so serious, being able to play with what we're learning. And then growing would be expanding, doing something new that we haven't done, and being able to let ourselves really just kind of blossom, like just spread our wings and go out into the world. So we're taking in new, we're playing with it, kind of like a dance, and then we grow by going out and touching other people and expanding within ourselves. Cocoon to flight. That actually is a blend of my personal and business visions. The cocoon is the in time, and the learning and the playing. I think the playing is the bridge to the flight, because we're playing alone, figuring things out. Then we play with a few other people, then we play with a lot of people, and then we're just flying. And that's when we're going to touch thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people. Creative conscious co-creation. Creative is who we are. So we're going to be creating things. We're always creating. It's a matter of, are we willing to share that? And the conscious part of that is being awake, like we talked about earlier in the parenting. Being awake and aware and having our eyes open. So creatively creating in a conscious way. And then the co-creation part is doing it with other people. It's like the pay it forward. If everybody is co-creating pay it forward together, everything changes on the spot.